Some call it a war between the NYPD and the mayor. Police officers have told us the mayor's comments about excess force show he doesn't have their back. And after the shocking murder of 2 cops, they shifted tactics to protect themselves. Arrests plummeted. Critics called it a labor slowdown jeopardizing public safety. To find out what cops are really thinking and why police activity is picking up again, we went behind the public statements to talk with a longtime NYPD officer. He spoke on the condition that we conceal his identity.
And there was definitely a slowdown immediately after the deaths of the 2 officers in Brooklyn. A lot of it was just anger, a lot of it was just caution. I mean, guys were afraid. People were just going assassinating police officers and police cars. So the natural inclination is to pull back a little bit. And a lot of it came from that. A lot of it was anger as well, about the perceived anti-police sentiment expressed by Mayor de Blasio. It wasn't anything organized by the unions. It was just kind of a grassroots, if he's not going to support us, why are we going to go out and produce for him kind of thing.
Even if it wasn't organized at first, is it now something that's been taken over by the union leaders?
I don't want to say taken over. I mean, the union obviously can't advocate a strike or a slowdown of any kind due to the Taylor Law. At first, they weren't discouraging it. I mean, I can discourage it, but it wasn't a policy of the union. There was no message from the union to the delegates, go out and, stop writing summonses. That was something that was just, a grassroots thing among cops in the precinct, cops on patrol.
So there was a definite slowdown, and now activity is picking up again. Why now?
Well, I think it's just a matter of, we kind of made our point, and it's time to go back to work. I mean, believe it or not, most of the cops who take this job, myself included, took this job because we like to help people. A lot of us live in the city. We care about the city. I personally, I'm tired of picking up the paper every day and reading about, people wanting de Blasio to apologize and, then we come back with something else. I mean, it's time to just go back to work. We're professionals. We have to act like professionals. I mean, if you wanted everybody to love you, you should have been a fireman. It's a very dangerous world now. What's going on in Paris, I mean, I'm shocked that something hasn't happened here yet. I really am. I think we're long overdue, and we got to be on our toes, and we got to be vigilant. And this does distract from it.
Should people be afraid?
The slowdown had nothing to do with anything with public safety. It had to do with discretionary things. They weren't writing. They see somebody urinating in public or drinking a beer, they wouldn't write them a criminal court summons. They, pull somebody over for running a red light, they'll give them a warning instead of giving them the ticket. I mean, it's stuff that needs to be enforced. It's important because the quality of life, I really believe, leads to disorder and worse crime. But on a short-term basis, letting one public urinator or one beer drinker go is not going to endanger the safety of the public. On a long-term basis, it will, which is why guys are trying to get back to work now.
The number of arrests and fines are up again, indicating officers are going back to work. These numbers are tracked using a system called CompStat. It's been the NYPD's data management and tracking tool for the past 20 years.
Basically, it was a great idea that sort of became a Frankenstein and got out of control.
It was Commissioner Bratton's idea.
It was Commissioner Bratton, his assistant, who came up with the idea of CompStat, where you would look at crime stats, and if there was a marked increase in robberies, say in the 7-5 precinct, they would use that to allocate resources, which I think was a fantastic idea. But it went off to a different direction where it became a performance indicator. And precinct commanding officers' careers live and die by CompStat. Your crime numbers have to go down and your activity numbers have to go up. If that doesn't happen, your career path has just been derailed.
So the numbers are fudged?
No, I'm not saying they're fudged. I mean, in the past, there were incidents of numbers being fudged. And I mean, it's public record. Precinct commanders have gotten transferred for it. That has stopped. It hasn't been like that in 5 or 6 years now.
So what do you think needs to happen now with everything that's going on, the so-called war between the NYPD and Blasio?
I think everybody, I think the Pat Lynch, I think the unions, I think everybody's just got to calm down with the rhetoric a little bit, just let things settle and, have a discussion, have a dialogue and, have a dialogue without running back to the press afterward and saying, well, this guy said this and this guy won't apologize. I mean, we need to just be de Blasio and us. We just need to be grown-ups and get past this. Like I said, nobody said we have to love each other. It's not going to happen. We don't.
Have any of the mayor's recent actions made him more favorable to the police?
Well, I have to say honestly that his statement that he's going to veto the chokehold bill proposed by the city council, I think that's a big step in the right direction. And, Rome wasn't built in a day. Hopefully this will be a sign of things to come.